Hello again, Struck. Diablo IV Season 1, Season of the Malignant, or as I like to call it, Season of the Bare Bones, is starting sometime later today around 10 in the morning Pacific or 6 p.m. UK time, 8 p.m. my time. But we already have, as usual, Diablo4.cc, a website I like using for data mined information. We already have a look at the various different items and affixes that come with that season. In particular, the Malignant Hearts. And this is what this video would be about. I would show you the Malignant Hearts, and after that, as an added bonus, I would show you all the rewards for all the chapters of the seasonal journey. So buckle up, Struck. This won't be a long video, so let's go. To kick things off, let's have a look at all 32 Malignant Hearts. I'm gonna read them as order of appearance in the list, in the Diablo4.cc list. So they're not gonna be sorted by class. Most likely, I'm not sure what the sorting here is. It seems strange, but in any case, let's begin. Of Resurgent Life, which is a barbarian, brutal, defensive heart. While below 40 to 60% life, you receive 50 to 60% additive, more healing from all sources. Of Agitated Winds, when 8-13 close enemies automatically cast Cyclone Armor. This cannot occur more than every 10 to 20 seconds. So in the best case, you would have that proccing every 10 seconds. This is for Druid, it's brutal, it's defensive. Next is of Revenge, which is a general for all classes, brutal and defensive as well. 10 to 20% of incoming damage is instead suppressed. When you use a defensive, subterfuge, or macabre skill, all suppressed damage is amplified by 250% and explodes, dealing up to X fire damage to nearby enemies, a flat value. Next we have of the Prudent Heart, which is another general for all classes, also brutal and also defensive. You become immune for 2 to 4 seconds after you lose more than 20% of your life in a single hit. This effect cannot occur more than every 110 seconds, but this 110 seconds gets reduced because if you look at it over here, in another list I have found from Wotrix DATAMINE, there is a formula about it. So it's 110 as the minimum, but then based on the item level or whatever, it will be better. So keep that in mind. There will be some sort of this is the formula 110 minus Malignant Cage level times 10. So it definitely won't be 110 all the time. So going back to the Malignant Hearts, next up is of the Lion Heart, which is a general and again brutal heart and defensive. You gain 10% additive barrier generation. You heal a flat amount of life per second while you have an active barrier. Next up is of the Decrepit Aura, which is a Necromancer brutal defensive heart. When at least 5 enemies are near you, gain an aura that automatically curses surrounding enemies with Decrepify for 5 to 15 seconds. Next up is of Trickery, Rogue brutal defensive heart. When you use a subterfuge skill, leave behind an unstable shadow decoy trap that taunts enemies. The shadow decoy trap will explode after 6 seconds, dealing flat shadow damage, and this cannot occur more than once every 5 seconds. Next we have of Spell Breaking, which is a sorcerer, brutal and defensive aspect. After taking elemental damage, gain 20 to 40% additive, not additive, multiplicative resistance to that element for 5 seconds. This one, it's safe to say people won't use it because Blizzard themselves have already admitted that the resistances are not working properly and they would be getting reworked with Season 2. So spell breaking, safe to say no one would want to use this. A Focused Rage, Barbarian Vicious Offensive. After spending 60 to 100 Fury within 2 seconds, your next non-basic skill's critical strike chance is increased by 20 to 30% multiplicative. Next, of the Moon Rage, a Druid Vicious Offensive heart. Heals have a 5% chance to summon a wolf companion to your side for 20 to 30 seconds. In addition, gain +3 to wolves. Safe to say that most likely people won't bother using this because companions have not been strong and the patch notes didn't indicate them getting much stronger either. Of the Dark Dance, General Vicious Offensive Heart. Every 5 seconds, while above 60% life, core skills cost flat life instead of your primary resource. Skills that consume life deal 0.15 to 0.2% increased damage. Of the Picana, a general vicious offensive. Critical strikes electrically charge the enemy for 0.75-2.5. Again, this is a modifier which would modify with your weapon damage or whatever, or attack stat. I'm not exactly sure, but in any case, so they will do flat X to flat Y damage, causing lightning to arc between them and any other charged enemies, dealing flat lightning damage. And flat seconds XY. So of Tempting Fate, you gain additive 40 to 60% crit strike damage, but your non-critical strikes deal 15 to 20% multiplicative less damage. This would definitely hurt, but this would definitely help. I can see a lot of builds using this, like Bone Spear Necrus. I can definitely see those happening, or builds that are using guaranteed crits like Concealment and stuff like that. Of the Sacrilegious is a Necromancer Vicious Offensive Heart. Walking near a corpse automatically activates an equipped core skill every second, dealing 30 to 40% multiplicative reduced damage. Of Cluster Munitions, which is a Rogue Vicious Offensive Heart, which is also a wacky hit, you have up to a 20% chance to launch one stun grenade that deals flat physical damage and stuns enemies for X seconds. For each unique element, which is of Tau Rasha, Sorcerer Vicious Offensive, for each unique element you deal damage with, you deal 7 to 12% multiplicative, increase damage for 1 to 7 seconds. Of Ignoring Pain, Barbarian Wrathful Super. Not sure what a super means, probably that it goes on any SWAT. Incoming damage has a 5 to 15% chance of being ignored and instead healing you for flat value. Of the Unconstrained Beast, Druid Wrathful Super. When you're hit with a stun, freeze, or knockdown effect, there is a 40 to 60% chance to automatically activate Grizzly Rage for 1 second. This is not a wacky hit, by the way. Of the Malignant Pact, General Wrathful Super. Cycle through a Malignant bonus every 20 kills. Vicious. Gain 20 plus Malignant Cage level attack speed. So again, additive attack speed. Devious. Core and basic skills have X% chance to fully restore your primary resource. And Brutal, every X seconds gain a barrier absorbing flat damage. Then you have Of the Barbar, General, Wrathful, and Super. Critical strikes and all subsequent damage within 2 to 4 seconds is absorbed by your target. Then the absorbed damage erupts onto surrounding enemies. Stored damage is increased by 10% multiplicative per second. We have Of Creeping Death, which is a General, Wrathful, and Super Heart. Your damage over time effects are increased by 30 to 40 multiplicative percent for each different crowd control effect on the target. Unstoppable monsters and staggered bosses instead take 110 to 130% multiplicative increased damage from your damage over time effects. Very good for damage over time builds, I guess. Of the Great Feast, each minion drains 1 to 2 essence per second, but deals 50 to 75% increased multiplicative damage. With no minions, this bonus applies to you and drains 5 essence per second. So this is going to be good for minion builds as well as 0 minion builds. Of the Vile Apothecary, Rogue Wrathful Super. Your attacks have a 5 to 15% chance to apply all imbuement effects at 40 to 50% multiplicative of normal potency. Of Omnipower. Core skills that launch a projectile consume all of your mana. For every 35 to 45 extra, this is by the way Sorcerer Wrathful Super. For every 35 to 45 extra mana consumed, you launch an additional projectile and the damage is increased by 3 to 5 multiplicative percent. So this will be very good on projectile builds with stacking a lot of maximum mana. Of Punishing Speed, which is Barbarian, Devious, and Utility. Your skills have a 20 to 30% chance to knock down all enemies for I think 1.2 to 2.5 seconds when that skill's attack speed is higher than 20 to 35%. Of Inexorable Force. Druid Devious Utility. Up to 30 to 50% distant enemies are pulled towards you while you have an ultimate skill active. This would be extremely fun on builds using duration ultimate like Cataclysm. Sure, it could also work nicely with Petrify for the duration of Petrify while it's active to pull enemies towards you, but the Cataclysm is clearly what this was meant to be used with. of Determination, which is a general devious utility. Resource draining effects are 40 to 50% additive, less effective. In addition, gain 3 to 8% multiplicative increased resource generation. Then we have of Retaliation, not to be confused with the aspect of Retaliation. Of Retaliation is a general devious utility card. Deal flat fire damage to surrounding enemies whenever a crowd control effect is removed from you. Next of the Calculated, general devious utility. After spending 150 to 200 of your primary resource, your next attack stuns enemies hit for X seconds, which would depend on the Malignant cage level. Of Frozen Terror is a Necromancer devious utility card, which gives you the following quirky hit. Up to a 10 to 20% chance of inflicting fear for 1.5 seconds. Your enemies are chilled for 20% every second. Then we have Off the Clip Shot, a rogue devious utility card, which is a wacky hit and gives the following. Up to a 20 to 40% chance for your cutthroat skills to slow by 40% for X something here that would depend on the power, item power of the heart, I guess, and the level of the heart. So for X seconds, and your marksman skills to knock back enemies. So chance for your cutthroat skills to slow and marksman skills to knock back. Of Spite is a sorcerer, devious, and utility card. This gives the following bonus. When you are afflicted with a crowd control effect, there is a 20 to 40% chance that the same enemy and enemies around you are also afflicted with the same effect for 1 second. And next, as I said, a bonus chapter, which is all the chapter rewards for the seasonal journey. First of all, there are the seasonal challenges. I'm not gonna read all of them. I'm gonna leave them here. You could pause and read, say, but I'll show you the chapter rewards. First, you got the seasonal journey cache, number of herbs as well as jewelry, and then you have aspect of ancestral charge. Then you have subterranean aspect, of Gorquil's aspect, of Pestilent Points aspect, and aspect of Searing Wards. All of those most likely will be either put into your inventory, aspect inventory, or there's even a possibility that those things here would even go straight to your Codex of Power. And the second would be the preferred choice, but if it's not the second, and it just gives you a version of that aspect with the minimum or maximum roll, regardless in your inventory, it's still better than nothing. Especially if you want to focus farm for a certain build that requires certain aspects. Chapter 2, more aspects, which is both chieftain, very necessary aspect. Took me forever to find it on my barbarian, 80 levels or so. Shockwave aspect, definitely good for pulverized werebears. Exposed flesh aspect, surprise aspect, and frozen orbit aspect, alongside the second journey reward, which is a number of scattered prisms as well as jewelry. And here are the tasks required for that chapter. Again, you don't need to complete all chapters to reach the seasonal journey. You need to complete 9 out of the 11 objectives, so you can skip 3 of those. Chapter 3, you need to complete all of them in here from the looks of it, or maybe not. It says complete all chapters and objectives, but I think this is wrong. I think you still don't need to complete all of them. That's what you have here from those. And here is the chapter rewards. A legendary salvage as well as jewelry. Encroaching rat aspect, direwolf aspect, of decay aspect, of imitated imbuements aspect, and aspect of the unbroken tether. Chapter 4, what we have here is you need to complete 10 out of 12. So 2 of those objectives you can skip from the journey. The cache here gives you Malignant Hearts and Forgotten Souls as well as jewelry. So you definitely want to get chapter 4 as early as possible to get some Malignant Hearts early. Ready yourself and venture blah blah blah. I'm not going to read this. Earthquake aspect, Lightning Dancers aspect, Coldbringers aspect, Umbrus aspect, and Gravitational aspect are the aspects in the chapter 4 reward. Chapter 5 requires 9 out of 11 objectives, so you can skip 3 here. So for example, some people might want to skip the kill another player in PvP. Definitely something optional to skip. Craven aspect is something you can get, and the Few Journey cache contains a number of late game resources and nightmare sigils to pursue greater heights and challenges as well as jewelry. Chapter 6 requires 9 out of 11. Again, you can skip 2 of those that you don't like. And the 6th Journey cache contains a number of late game resources and nightmare sigils to pursue greater heights and challenges as well as jewelry, and it contains the Audacity aspect, one of the new ones. Next, we have here complete 6 out of 8 objectives. So again, 2 of those can be skipped. For example, reach level 100. Let's say this would take longer to do than the other stuff. And in terms of rewards, you have the 7 Journey Cache, which contains jewelry, a number of late game resources, and a Scroll of Amnesia, which refunds all allocated skill points and Paragon points, as well as a Wrathful Heart, by the way, which seems to be a title. Wrathful and the Title Heart, it seems. Another good bonus thing I wanted to show you was here, all the Battle Pass rewards. So I'll quickly just scroll through it. I'm not gonna go into detail of all of it, but mostly all of this that is free. Some of that is like cosmetics. There's some cosmetics here, cold iron items, balanced items, some titles, some voice lines, some emotes, a bunch of interesting stuff as part of the seasonal rewards. Again, there's balanced stuff, artisan stuff for the free, and the cold iron is for the premium stuff. Again, balanced wand, and then I will end you. Again, this seems to be a voice line, emote. More stuff here, awoken cold iron set stuff, cold iron set stuff, you will die voice line, and so on. Again, I can't show you everything, but I'm trying to show some stuff here and there. I mean, I can show you everything, but I don't think it's necessary. There will be a link, you could read that, see all that list from the link in the description on Diablo4.cc. And this is the tier 90. At tier 90, you get Awoken Cold Iron Barding for the horse and Awoken Warded Mustang, which is some sort of a special horse. At 89, a helmet. You get this one. This one. It looks the same, but I'm assuming it's not, because if you click here on the item, I'm not sure what else we can see about it. They all look the same, but there's got to be something that makes it different. There's got to be something that makes it different from the rest of them. But I guess we'll find out later today. Well, maybe not today, because that's tier 89.
To get notified when I upload more content like this one or other builds and guides for Wooter and not so Wooter games, you can subscribe to my channel and hit that bell button to not miss out on notifications. As well as keep in mind there's something called memberships on YouTube, which lets you be a paying member for my channel to get access to perks such as emotes and badges made by me, as well as the option to get one-on-one tutoring for the very basics of Adobe Photoshop, Premiere and After Effects. And memberships can be cancelled at any time if you no longer wanna be a member. Thanks for watching all the way until the end, Struck Web. Keep it cool until next time, and goodbye.